Welcome to Module 4, Lesson 1. That's right, we're starting a new module today. So I need you to watch this video, and then at the end, please take photos of and submit your problem set to this same assignment, okay? After that, then you can work on your homework, submit that, and your exit ticket as always. Remember, exit tickets go into Mastery Connect, so do your very best, and we will be looking at all of your homework. Let's start the new year and the new module on our best, at our best, okay? So lesson 1, the objective is to measure and compare pencil lengths to the nearest 1/2, 1/4, and 1/8 of an inch and analyze the data through line plots. I really like line plots. They look like this, okay? And we'll start this one at 0 and then go to 1/2 and then 1 and then 1.5, okay? And those are by halves. And then if I wanted to put in the eighths or the quarters, okay, that's a quarter, and that's a quarter, and that's a quarter, so this would be 1/4, and that would be 2/4, this would be 3/4, okay? Now, after we've made this 1 and 1/4, after we've made this line, we're going to plot some data on it, so that's what I'm going to show you. This should be review. If it's not, then go back and watch some other things where we've done number lines, okay? So go to your student workbook. Remember, this is Module 4, so you need to get out the new Module 4 workbook. Lesson 1, problem set. Write your name on the paper and follow along because I do want you to turn in these pages at the end of the video, okay? So, estimate the length of your pencil to the nearest inch. Well, we're using inches. I like to use my 2 fingers. We're estimating, right? So, 2 fingers is an inch, approximately. That's 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go 1/2, 3.5. My pencil is 3.5. You measure your pencil, okay, not mine. Of course, this is an electronic pencil. I assume you all are using different things. Using a ruler, measure your pencil strip to the nearest 1/2 inch and mark the measurement with an X above the ruler below. Construct a line plot for your classmates' measurements. Okay, 1 second. I think I actually have right here my, let me see, I'm grabbing it. My ruler. I don't have a hard ruler. I have a soft ruler, but I definitely could use that. It's from my sewing kit. So if you have a sewing kit like I do, here's my sewing kit. I happen to have a ruler inside of it, and it's in inches. So, okay, so my estimate was 3.5. Remember, I like to use my fingers for that. Let's see what the actual measurement is. Okay, I'm going to show it to you this way. I'm going to hold it at one end and hold it to the other end. Oh my goodness, I was way off. It's actually 5.5. Look at that. Can you see that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 inches. So my fingers wasn't a good measurement. 5.5 is what it actually is. 5.5 inches. So my estimate was off. That's why we measure, especially if you're making clothes or making origami, something like that. Measure your pencil strip to the nearest 1/2 inch and mark the measurement with an X above the ruler below. So right there, okay? Construct a line plot of your classmates' pencil measurements. Now, we are not talking to our classmates right now because they're not here. So let's just say, for example, that we have student A, student B, student C, student D, student E, student F, and student G, okay? And if student A's pencil is 3.5 inches because, you know, that would be about like this. Maybe they've sharpened it a few times. And student B has a brand new 6-inch pencil. And student C has a 4-inch pencil. And student D has 5.5 inches. And student E has 4 3/4. Student F has 2.5. That's a tiny one. You know how some kids like to keep their pencils forever. And then student G has 4. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to construct a line plot of your classmates' pencils. So these are our classmates. We're going to imagine that they're the kids in this class. And then we're going to plot them on this line. So plotting them means write them in. So 3.5 would be right here. 6 is here. 4 is there. 5.5 would be 5.5, just like my pencil. 4 3/4. Okay, so 4.5 and then 3/4 would be right there. Remember, quarters are smaller than halves. And 2.5. And the last one is 4. Okay. All right. So that is basically a line plot. Now we used a ruler to show our line plot, but any line with numbers over it, and then we put our data into it with these little X's. I think you've probably done this before. Number 3, using a ruler, measure your pencil strip to the nearest 1/2 inch and mark the measurement with an X above the ruler below. So what did I say mine was? Mine was 5.5. Okay, to the nearest 1/4 inch. Okay, yep, still 5.5. So mine is going to be right here, 5.5. Using a ruler, measure your pencil strip to the nearest 1/8. Okay, well, actually, I think it is a little bit closer to, if you can see that there, 5.5 would be there, 5 1/4 would be there. It might actually be closer to 5 3/8. 5 3/8. So 5 3/8 is what my pencil is. When it asked me to mark it to the nearest 1/4, I still had 5.5 because remember, 1/2 equals 2/4. Okay. Oh, sorry. 5 2/4. Okay, so 5 3/8, I'm going to mark that here. 5 1 2 3/8. Remember, an 1/8 is smaller than a 1/4. Okay. Now yours is going to be different because obviously your pencil is different. Number 5, use all 3 of your line plots to complete the following. Compare the 3 plots and write one sentence that describes how the plots are alike and one sentence that describes how they are different. Okay, so it's asking us to be a little bit more specific here. So this one actually was in 1/2 inches, so this 4 3/4, that I made a mistake there. I'm going to erase that. And that one would, 4 3/4, we're going to estimate up, so that would be 5, right? Now, if we're being more specific, we're still going to plot these same things, 3.5, 6, 4, 5.5, 4 3/4, 1 2 3, 2.5, and 4. They look pretty close, don't they? Except this one just moved slightly, okay? And if we're doing 8s, and I said mine was actually 5 3/8, it's still going to look the same because this is made up. If we were doing this in the classroom, I think that it would be a little bit better. So that, let's see, A was 3.5, B is 6, C is 4, D is 5.5. Ooh, those second lines are going in. E is 4 3/4. F is 2.5. And G is 4. Now, I recommend, these are made up numbers. I recommend that if you have a drawer full of pencils, that use all of the pencils in your drawer. Okay, let's change this here. So using a ruler, measure your pencil strip to the nearest 1/2 inch and mark the measurement with an X above the ruler. Construct a line plot of your classmates' pencil measurements. So we're going to erase that. And I want you to find all of the pencils in your house. Of your pencils, all of your pencils. I'm putting S for plural. Okay? So desk drawers, mom's desk drawer, ask your mom, ask your dad. Okay, find all of the pencils in your house and create a line graph. Okay, a line plot. Now, use all 3 line plots to compare. Compare the 3 plots and write one sentence that describes how the plots are alike and one sentence that describes how they are different. Okay, so our sentence is, they look very similar. They're distributed similarly. But 2, the third line, is more specific, right? Because we were even more detailed. B, what is the difference between the measurements of the longest and shortest pencils on each of the line plots? Okay, so if the longest was 6, that's 6, and the shortest was 2.5, and it's asking, what is the difference between the measurements of the longest and shortest pencils on each of the 3 line plots? Well, it's the same for each. So 6 minus 2.5 equals what? So this we're going to have to turn into, remember how to do this? I mean, I can do this in my head, it's 3.5, right? If you can do that in your head, great. If you can't, then we're going to borrow from this 6 and we're going to make it 5 and 2/2 minus 2 and 1/2, okay? Do you see how I did that? I just split that into 5 and 2 2s. So 5 minus 2 equals 3, and 1/2 minus 2/2 minus 1/2 equals 1/2. Okay. So what's the distance? This distance from here to here is 2.5 inches. So 3.5 inches. 1, 2, 3.5. Right? And you could actually just count it right there on the line if you want. 1. 1, 2, 3.5, right? 1, 1, 1.5. Great. Number 4. Write a sentence describing how you could create a more precise ruler to measure your pencil strips. How could we create a more precise ruler? Well, this ruler only has 1/8, and this ruler only has quarters, and this ruler only has halves. So a more precise ruler, like this one, right? Like you could see that here, has all of them marked. It has whole inches, 1/2 inches, 1/4 inches, and 1/8 of an inch. And you can tell because the lines are smaller. Okay, all right. So show whole numbers, halves, that's a mess, quarters, and 1/8, all on the same ruler. Okay, great. All right, so that is just the problem set. I would like you to take a picture of that and submit that into your Google Classroom. Look, it's only 2 pages. Hopefully you were following along. Your homework now is a little bit more complicated, and I want to kind of go through part of it with you, I think. Yeah, it's pretty short, but let's just go through it. A meteorologist set up rain gauges at various locations around a city and recorded the rainfall amounts in the table below. Use the data in the table to create a line plot using 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so let's look for the smallest number. I'm going to move this screen here. Let's look for the smallest number and then the largest number. Okay, so if our largest number is, this is the largest, that's the biggest, that's going to be this side. Okay, we're going to have to make that here 1 1/4. And our smallest number is 1/8. So 1 1/4, then this is going to have to be 1. And this will be 0. And then we have to do eighths. So if that's 0 and this is 1, this is going to be a half. Then in between that are fourths, 1/4 and 3/4. And then in between that are the eighths. So 1/8 to 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8. That would be 8/8, right? And this would be 9/8, or 1 1/8. Okay. Now you're going to put in your X for all of these rainfall amounts. So rainfall amount. 1/8 would be here. 3/8 is here. I'm going to put a little check next to them. 3/4, that's here. 3/4, that's another one, so we'll put the X on top of it. 1/4 goes over here. 1 1/4 is here. 1/8, that's here. Oh, I'm not checking them off. 1/4, 1, and 1/8. Okay, now that I have all of my rainfalls plotted, now I can use this data to answer some questions. So, which location received the most rainfall? Which location received the most rainfall? Well, this was the most rainfall here. I'm going to change the color. Right? This one, 1 1/4, that number right there is the biggest number. And I can see that on my line plot, but if I'm looking here, I can also see that that's the biggest number. So what location is that? Ooh, my goodness. That line got away from me. So location 6. Which location received the least rainfall? Well, 1/8 is the least. So that would be here. Which rain measurement was the most frequent? Okay, most frequent means where did it rain the most times? Or I'm sorry, what was the measurement that was the most frequent? So we're going to look and see which of these. So this was 3 times. This is 2. This is 2, and the others are just 1. So this is the first. So 1/8 of an inch is the most frequent because we see that 1, 2, 3 times. What is the total rainfall in inches? Okay, now you need to add these together. And I'm going to let you do that on your own. That is your homework, okay? So 1/8 plus 3/8 plus 3/4, add those all up, okay? And that's your answer right here. I'm going to be looking for that in your homework, okay? I just gave you a lot of help there. Don't forget to write your name on it. Take a picture of this page, submit it, okay? And don't forget to do your exit ticket. Draw a line plot for the following data measurements. Okay, so there's your data, and you're going to draw a line plot with that data. Look for the big numbers first. Okay, 3, 3 1/4. All right, so you're going to need to put 3 and probably 3/4 here is going to be your biggest one. So you might want to even make this line plot all the way up to 4. Okay. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then draw in all the data, all your X's. Okay, do a better job than I did. My line is a little messy. Explain how you decided to divide your wholes into fraction parts and how you decided where your number scale should begin and end. Okay, and I just gave you that answer. So I'm giving you too many answers today. Must be because it's a new unit and I'm feeling very helpful. Okay, so measure and compare pencil lengths to the nearest half, quarter, and eighth of an inch, and analyze the data. That's really what line plots are for, is to look at the data and figure out things like where was the most rainfall. Okay, And if you have any questions, please let me or Miss Andreina know. Have a great day.